Hey, this is Kirk Walden, and welcome to Coffee with Kirk on the Pregnancy Help Podcast. I think we're going to have fun today because I'm going to ask you to do something you maybe not have done in a while, and I think we need it right now. I am going to ask you to dare to dream. Dare to dream. I want us to think beyond where we are right now. I want us to think about a bright future for pregnancy help. And I want to combat something that I think is happening a little bit among some of us right now. Maybe not you, but maybe some people around you, or maybe it centers around this country and around the world. I think there's a little bit of frustration right now. Maybe that's not the right word. I don't want to go as far as depression or anything like that, but there are some big challenges we're facing right now. One of which, as you know, is the abortion pill. Me and my wife Jen were talking about that the other day. And as we were talking about communicating with pregnancy centers and with donors of pregnancy centers, that came up because for some people, the abortion pill has kind of tipped things over a little bit. It's like, we're doing all these things. We built this center. We're trying to move forward. But these girls are going online and ordering that abortion pill before we can get to them. And I know we have abortion pill reversal, can't even say it, but it's very important. And it is doing amazing things. And we're putting that out there like never before. And it is growing. And yet still there's this niggling feeling that, gosh, we got to reach them first. And we do. We got a second chance with the abortion pill, and that's amazing. But we still want to reach them first before they even take that first pill. Of course we do. And sometimes it gets to be a burden that kind of gets us down. And I want us to combat that today by daring to dream. Because I believe that we can be the first choice for those young ladies. It's going to take investment. It's going to take all these things. And I also think we have so many offerings for those who are facing unexpected pregnancies. I see centers doing amazing things from in-depth counseling, biblical counseling with those who come in the door to fatherhood initiatives, to all these things. And I go, okay, we need to dare to dream again. If we sense our ministry team getting a little bit down, I invite you to this podcast, to listen to this podcast for about 20 minutes. That's about all it's going to be. And then you can take that and just say, this is for me, this is what I need to do. But you can also pull in your staff and say, hey, let's sit around the table. Let's listen to this guy in Tennessee for a few minutes, and then let's put this into practice in our own offices. Let's dare to dream together. What would we do if? And here's going to be my starting point. I want us to ask the question, if our budget was not what it is now, but was tripled over time, what would we do? Now, this is not a development workshop or anything like that. We can do those. In fact, let me just offer this to you. If you're saying, boy, there's no way to triple our budget, I wish we could find a way to get there. You know what? Go to the Institute, Heartbeats Institute this summer, sign up for that, and be part of the development track. They have ideas that will take you where you need to go. You just got to implement them. So that's my commercial plug for this episode. But here's the thing. Right now, let's start with tripling our budget. And I will say this. I'm using a United States example. This will apply to many countries as well. But here's the thing. I'm going to start with some math for you. In the United States, we have 330 million people. Of those, 231 million are 21 or older. Rough guess. Rough estimate based on, I've been looking on the internet where everything's true, but we've got about 231 million people who are 21 or older. And I'm going to say these people could possibly give to your ministry, your mobile ministry, your pregnancy center, your maternity home, 21 plus 231 million people. Okay. Of those 231 million people, 30% attend church regularly. I know that's not great, but let's go with what we have. 30% attend church regularly. That's 69 million people. Of those in our churches, let's just assume 70% are married and the other 30% are single. This means we have 24 million couples that are attending church regularly, and about 21 million singles. Okay, that adds up to 48.5 million people, so 45 million people, somewhere around there. Okay, of these 24 million couples or 21 million individuals, I'll bet if they're attending church regularly, they're probably going to be open. Many of them are going to be open to what you do. They might not be super pro-life, but if they're going to church regularly, they're more likely to be in that camp. Let's say 75% of them look at you and go, you know what? I'm open to what they do. I like their compassion. They might not be fully pro-life as I am or you are, but they like the compassion aspect of what we do. And so now, of those 45 million, we've got 33 million individuals or couples who are like, we like what you guys do. We're open to hearing more. Okay, now that we're down to 33 million, I know it's a lot of math, but I want to get somewhere because I think if we piece this out, and I've done this before, but if we piece this out, we realize this is more doable than we thought when we talk about tripling a budget. 45 million people, 33 million individuals or couples say, I like what you do. If 1/3 of those decided to go from I like what you do to I will give to what you do, 1/3, that's 11 million individuals or couples. 11 million. The average salary in this country is about $75,000. If each of those 11 million, 1 out of 3 of those who believe in you, just 1 out of 3, said, I'll give a day's wage to them each year. Divide that $75,000 by 365. I know we don't work every day, but I'm making it as easy as I can. That will be about $200 a year. What is that? Not even $25 a month. Not even $25 a month. Now, there are people who can give a lot more, but I'm trying to narrow this down. If these people, these 11 million, added 1 day's wage to what they're currently giving, many of these are giving zero, some are giving a lot more. But if they added 1 day's wage, about $200 a year on average, like I said, some more, some less, whatever, that would be $2.2 billion to be spread among our pregnancy centers. $2.2 billion. Among 2,950 pregnancy centers, that's about $764,000 per center. The interesting thing about that is the average budget of a pregnancy center may be around $375,000. So that would triple your budget. And if you extrapolate that for a larger center with $1 million budget, they've got a lot more people, a lot more donors. They can triple their budget. And for the center that is a budget of $200,000, they may not have as many, but they still have a community and they can triple their budget. You could triple your budget if just 1 in 3 people who go to church regularly and would believe in your mission gave 1 day's wage, added that to their giving already. That's it. You can triple your budget. Now, what do we do with that? What do we do with a tripled budget? Well, we could go jump up and down and be excited about it. We can go on vacations to faraway places and all that, but I know that's not what you want to do. So this is the practical part of this. What would happen if we sat around in a room with our staff, or maybe we just went by ourselves and sat down, maybe we're the CEO, and we said, what would happen if we did this? What would happen if our budget tripled? What can I see us doing? Dare to dream. Would you want more space? Would you want to expand the space that you're in so you can do more things? Maybe you want to expand into a full-time fatherhood initiative. Let me tell you something. For those of you who are looking at this, and many ministries are looking at a fatherhood initiative right now. You're already doing it and you're trying to ramp it up and you're trying to get it traction and those sorts of things. What if you had someone full-time to do this? Let me tell you something. If you triple your budget, you can probably pull that off an office, a place for the men to go. And as many centers as I get to visit, I visit probably 40 a year, maybe 30, 40 a year. I go in and I see this is our man cave right here. This is where the men are going to be. Okay, what if you could expand that? What if you could do more? Fatherhood, more space for other things as well, for more medical services. There are some center directors, CEOs that have come to me and said, we want to do prenatal care. We want to take them basically to birth. Others want to do a little bit of aftercare. Maybe that in-depth biblical counseling is something you'd want to do. We have so many women and men come to us with needs that are beyond a simple Bible verse. They're big. And they've got to delve into, why did I get to this place in my life? And how can I move from this place to the place God wants me to be? Well, what would it take to have a master's, someone with a master's in counseling or two who say, this is what I do. I'm here to reach these women and these men and help them find keys to building a future from a biblical perspective. We could do that too. Some are still looking to add STI and STD testing, ultrasound, whatever. We're looking at mobile units. We're looking at new locations. What would it be like if we had a tripled budget so we could launch centers in our area that soon become independent, that we develop 5-year plans for them? They start out under our wing and then they become independent. With those kind of dollars, if we could triple our budgets, we might be able to do things like that. We can provide coaching for fledgling centers in our area or around the country or around the world. We could do those things if our budget tripled. And of course, we could provide benefits to our current staff. We could raise the salaries of our current staff. And I think we don't want to overlook this. If we tripled our budget, we could do these things so that our staff doesn't turn over as much, so that someone doesn't come to us and say, I love working here. I just can't afford it. I don't want that to happen. Why does it happen to us and not to that business person out there? Because they have more resources. So let's go get more resources. Let's dare to dream about what a tripled budget would mean. Because if we begin to do that, there's a verse, Proverbs 29:18, where there is no vision, the people perish. And there's another version out there. I didn't find the version that it was in there, but it says, where there is no vision, the people are unrestrained, which means the people wander around aimlessly. I want our ministries always to have a target, always to have something new on the horizon that we can do. Yes, there's seasons when we go, let's build into what we're already doing. We don't need a new project right now. Totally get that. But we always need to have, even if the target is we want to get to a place where we can fully fund this initiative that we're already doing. That's great. But we always need to have a target, a focal point, a place we are going, a place where we say, we've got to get there because this is God's will. I want us to do a brainstorming session. This is a practical part of this. To sit around as a group and say, what if? Let's put the budget number on a whiteboard. Then let's put a tripled budget number on the whiteboard. And let's look at it and say, okay, what if we went from this to this? To put a number on it, let's say we went from $400,000 to $1.2 million. Where would we invest? And I don't mean spend. I don't mean, hey, let's go do stuff. You know that. You wouldn't be doing this ministry if you're those type of people. But all of a sudden we go from $400,000 and somebody puts $800,000 in our ministry and says, invest it well. What would our answer be? That's the practical part of this. This is how we sit around in a room and do this. And ultimately, these are board decisions. And I would love to bring the board into this conversation down the road. But right now, let's make it a staff. Let's make it a staff thing. You guys are on the ground. You know what's going on. You know what the needs are. You know, when she comes in the door and says, yeah, he's not coming, he doesn't see any reason to come here. Give her a reason to bring him. What would that look like? What would it look like if she said, I can't get any prenatal care and we could provide it? What if she comes to you with wounds that are not healed from years ago? Wounds from childhood, wounds from people who have treated her poorly, to put it as mildly as I can. Wounds from a church. This happened at a church. Or at church, I ran into these people and this is where my wounding took place. What do we do for her? Who is there for her? Who can take that time with her? Just ways to invest that going from $400,000 to $1.2 million. And the reason we did that little math exercise, it was probably too complicated in the beginning, is to say, bottom line, the funds are there. Just 1 in 3 people who go to church and believe in what you do, who are at church on a regular basis, who not only believe in what you do, but would be willing to give. Those people are out there. There are 11 million out there that I don't know that we're reaching. Because if we reached them and they gave a day's wage, we would have a tripled budget. Yes, we need development training. We need to get into that. Maybe this whole episode is making you say, you know what? We've got to get out there and get trained, because we've got to look at appeal letters in a new way. We've got to look at our major donors in a new way and build relationships in new ways. Yep, that's great. If that's all this episode does, that's probably good. But I also want this episode to take that moment where we lose our vision and eliminate it so we can build a new vision. Let's dream. Let's dare to dream of what could be. Because once we dream, once we come up with a list of things that we would love to do, what if we sat down with that same group in another week or so and prioritized and said, you know what? These are the ones that really scratched our itch. It was the prenatal care, or it was the counseling aspect of what we could do, or it's building our earn while you learn to a point to where we're building better relationships with those who come in the door. Who knows what it might be? But why don't we first dream and then come back together in a week or so and prioritize and say, these are the big ones. And you know what? Maybe there's a point where our CEO, our executive director, goes to the board and does this same exercise with them and says, we've already done it with the staff. I'm not going to bring you what they said yet, but why don't we have that exercise? Why don't we think about what could be if our budget was tripled? Then let's narrow these things down until we find a few. We pray through them and say, this is God's will. We know it's God's will. It's burning in each of our hearts and we cannot let it go. We've got to do this. And we pray further and we say, if we're going to do it, let's go fund it. Because as I tell boards all the time, I say we never base God's will on our budget. We base God's will on what He wants us to do. And if He says yes to something, then it's our mission to, with the Lord's help, go out and find funding for it. The funding is there. We did that exercise earlier. The funding is there. Now it's our turn. We need to dream. We need to find God's will. And I think where there is no vision, the people perish or the people are unrestrained. I get that. But I think the opposite of that, where there is a vision, there is a renewed faith, there is a strength, there is a courage. And with that courage, we will go out and we will ask people and say, this is what we want to do. Will you join us? That's the development portion of this. But right now, I would love for you to dream. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. It's got you thinking just a little bit. And it may be that it's just for you. But maybe this 20 minutes is also a time to listen to this and then say, okay, folks, here's the whiteboard. Here's our budget. Let's triple it. What would we do? I'm asking you to answer those questions. You're on the ground. You know your community. You know what the needs are. Go find those needs and meet those needs. But above all, always dare to dream. Well, thanks for being a part of the Pregnancy Help Podcast with me today. I hope coffee's been good for you, and I pray that you begin to dream and see what God's will is for the future of your ministry.